Hey, what's up? Yen here, and today I'd like to talk about this Soundpeats Engine 4. It is a dual dynamic driver, true wireless earbuds, and the retail price for this is just $60 US. If you guys are interested to find out more, do check out the unaffiliated link in the description below. Right, so in this video I'm going to talk about the specifications, accessories, design, build quality, fit and comfort, some of the features, my personal experience using this, my sound impression, and then I'll conclude if this is worth your $60 US or not. This video will have time chapters, so please feel free to skip around. Okay, so let's start off with the specifications. The specs are at the back, but essentially this is quite a basic true wireless earbuds. What its main feature is actually the Bluetooth version, which is 5.3. And with this version, the connection is more stable. This is what I feel if I tried. And also the codec that it has is the LDAC. Is basically for high-res audio wireless transmission. That's why it's got this high-res audio wireless certification. And inside here, as I mentioned, there are two drivers. One is a 6mm dynamic driver that handles the high-end frequencies, and then you have your 10mm dynamic driver that handles the lower-end frequencies. Right? The frequency range is 20 to 40,000 Hertz. Well, I don't think we humans can hear up to 40,000 Hertz, but anyway, this is the frequency range. And as for the battery, it can last about 12.5 hours for the earbuds. Honestly, I've not brought it to its max yet because I've been wearing this the entire day for about 2 weeks now, and I've not been charging all the time, so I don't find myself looking for a charger, let's put it that way. So pretty good battery, okay, and together with the case it can last up to 43 hours. Battery capacity is 50 milliamps for the earbuds and 350 milliamps for the charging case. And also what's special about this Engine 4 is that it's got multi-point connection, which means you can pair it with different devices, and you can choose which device you want this to connect with, right? All can be paired, but it's just connected to one. In fact, you can connect it to two, but later I'll show you how to do it in the app. Okay, so that's for the specifications. Let's go through the accessories. In fact, not too much. Basically one charging cable and some ear tips. And what I like about this ear tips is that it's circular, so you can actually pair up with your aftermarket ear tips and your favorite ear tips. So, but actually the ear tips that is being provided is actually pretty good. Good quality ear tips. The flange is actually quite firm, and the inner core is also quite sturdy. So pretty good quality ear tips. Okay, and that's it for the accessories. So let's talk about the build quality for this, the design and build quality for this Engine 4. This is the case that comes in. First is the finishing is a mirror finish. Alright, it's a black color glossy mirror finish, and one thing about mirror finish is that it attracts fingerprints. So as you can see, there's a lot of my fingerprints on this. So yeah, if you are particular about this, then yeah, maybe bring yourself a cloth wherever you go, and then you can wipe down the fingerprints, something like this, you know, just wipe it down, and yeah, then it solves your problem. The case is made of plastic, but the hinge is actually pretty good, okay, pretty sturdy, as you can see. And then at the bottom here you have the charging port, you have your reset button, and the charging indicator, the LED indicator. Now inside is where the earbuds will sit, and then over here there's another indicator to indicate the connection status lah. So it can show you whether it's connected to a device or not. Okay, and the earbuds sits inside here, this well. So inside this well there is like a pogo pin, and yeah, so the shell is pretty okay. As for the earbuds, now the faceplate is a touch sensor. I think if you guys know me, I don't really like touch sensors. There's a lot of missed touch, accidental touch, and it's just not accurate, and I'm not a fan of touch sensors, but yeah, it is what it is. And then on the side here you've got like a ribbed type of design, and it's just to increase the level of grip on this lah, but it's still quite slippery, to be honest. And then on the inner shell, you can see the dynamic driver, and I think you can see some microphone here. Yeah, the microphone on this side here, and I think there's another microphone here, and of course the charging ports. Okay, and the nozzle is round. Okay, so pretty okay design. I find that it's actually a pretty standard design for earbuds nowadays. In terms of fit and comfort, fits my ear pretty well actually, and it doesn't give me any fatigue. Though it looks like it's quite long, it does jut out from my ear quite a bit. But the angle of the nozzle is actually pretty okay, so it doesn't give me any pain or any fatigue when I'm wearing this. So the moment I put it into my ear and turn, it locks onto my ear and it just stays there. So it doesn't give me it doesn't drop off. But obviously you can't jog or run with this, because if you are too vigorous, then it might just fall off. Okay, but yeah, if you're just walking briskly or anything like that, it will not drop off. And in terms of seal, it gives me a pretty good seal for the stock ear tips, and if I were to use my CP145, it gives me maybe a better fit, a better seal. But the best seal is actually foam. So when I use this with foam, and foam actually give me a very good seal. Alright, so that's for the seal. Now let's talk about the features. Okay, so in terms of features, there's a few physical features that are missing. Okay, firstly is buttons, of course. Then of course there's also noise cancelling, and there's no ambient sound. Okay, and there's no wireless charging for the case. So as you can see, it's a very basic TWS. No bells and whistles, but I think they excel at what the basic is lah. The most important things, the battery, the connection, and the sound. So these are the three main things that I think they are focusing on. So in terms of features, there's also the accompanying app, which I'll show you right now. Okay, so this is the accompanying app, which is the Soundpeats app. You can download it from the Android store or the Apple store. So basically at the home page, it will show you the battery level of the earbuds. And it's actually quite simple. There's quite straightforward also. There's not much special features on this. When you click on the customize tab here, you can actually adjust the volume. You can also adjust the adaptive EQ. So this adaptive EQ, it will measure your hearing capabilities. Okay, so I click here, and it will go through a hearing test kind of thing. And after the test, it will determine what your ears can hear, and then it will automatically adjust the EQ based on what your ears can hear. Okay, so it's pretty okay. I mean, it takes about 3 minutes to test. But if you don't like that, then there's also other ways of adjusting the EQ. One way is the presets. Okay, so presets, you have all the standard Soundpeats settings, the classic, bass boost, bass reduction, electronic, classical music, rock, professional, and treble and folk. Okay, and also if you don't like the presets, you can also customize with this 10-band EQ or equalizer. You can adjust, and then you can reset it as well. Okay, so that's for the equalizer. Now there's also a gaming mode. Alright, so if you want to play games, right, turn on the gaming mode, and it will increase the performance of the connection rather than the sound, right? So you will sacrifice a bit of the sound quality for the connection quality. Okay, so it's less laggy, it's faster, and it's more efficient, but it will not sound as high res. Okay, so that's for that game mode. And then there's also the dual device connection, which I mentioned earlier. So when you turn this on, you can actually hear the sound from two devices. Okay, for example, I'm on a phone, on my iPhone, and then I'm playing games on this iPad. The two sounds can be heard simultaneously. Okay, which I think is quite a redundant type of function. I mean, who's gonna multitask in that way? I wouldn't. I just want to focus on my phone calls if I want to, or play my games. Okay, right, so that's for the accompanying app. It's actually quite straightforward and quite basic. Okay, so let's talk about the my use of these earbuds. My main use for these earbuds is basically watching movies, playing games, making phone calls, online meetings, and of course listening to my music. Okay, so let's talk about first gaming. So gaming on this is actually pretty good. The Bluetooth version 5.3 is actually pretty good in terms of performance. It's not as laggy as Bluetooth 5.0 or 5.2 even, and basically, yeah, it's a smoother type of connection lah. That's what I experienced. And then for the overall gaming soundstage on this is actually pretty good also. Pretty wide soundstage, and the imaging is very good because you got two drivers, so you can hear the explosions very naturally. At the same time, gunshots sounds very natural, and yeah, and because of that, the sound is actually quite separated and detailed also. Well, detail is not very detailed because of the tuning, but in terms of sound separation and imaging, as in where the sound is coming from, is actually pretty good. And the overall resolution of this, overall resolution is okay, it's above average. I wouldn't say it's the best. Okay, so that's for gaming. As for watching movies, watching action movies on this was actually quite fun because of the bass. It's got quite a good bass, and also for dialogues as well. I mean, it's a bit recessed, but if you like to watch drama, it's got a better or lower end than a lot of other earbuds. But I find that, yeah, it's pretty good in terms of watching movies, and the lip sync of this is actually pretty good because it's 5.2. So yeah, watching movies on this is actually quite a good experience, quite fun as well. And then making phone calls and going on online meetings with these earbuds. I guess that's the most important part here is actually the microphone. So what I'll do is I'll do a recording, and you guys listen to the sound that comes out from this microphone, and then you guys be the judge. Okay, so now what you're hearing is from the microphone of the Engine 4. How do you think I sound? Do I sound okay? So what I'm going to do now is turn on the fan, which is about 2 meters away from me, and from there you see how it sounds like. This is to simulate in a windy condition, which is quite common, and then you see how it sounds. Okay, so now I'm in a windy condition, which is my fan. My fan is about 2 meters away, and it's blowing at the right side of my ear. And then now I'm going to turn my head and face the fan, so that both sides is facing the fan. How do you think I sound? Do I sound okay? Alright, so this is to simulate a windy condition. So now let's switch back to the studio microphone. Alright, so that's how the microphone will sound like in a meeting situation, or if you're on a phone call, and you guys be the judge on how good is this microphone. And of course, last but not least, I listen to my music on these earbuds. So let's talk about that. So in terms of the tone and timbre for this is more of a fun, casual listening experience. The note weight is heavy, and the timbre is more of a warmer side. In fact, very warm. So let me just open up the graph and show you guys. Okay, so this is the graph which I measured of the Engine 4. So in terms of the shape of this tuning, this is more of a V shape, quite a mild U shape, and the emphasis is on the bass. Okay, so if you look at the treble is actually on a lower level as the bass. So and the bass is actually a tucked mid bass kind of experience. In fact, is very similar to the HS Mini, which I'll compare with later. But in terms of the overall listening experience on this, is casual, is fun. It's a lot of bass. It's actually not really for bass heads, but the bass is very prominent. It's very suitable for gaming and very suitable for watching movies as well. For listening to music, it's actually quite suitable for those popular songs, pop songs, hip-hop, trance, techno type of genre of music. For classical orchestras, jazz, instrumental is not really suitable for that unless you EQ, but for me I don't like to use the EQ. So this is how it sounds like in terms of the sound signature lah. Right, so basically for the sub bass is actually rolled off, as you can see, but the bump goes up here. So I hear this is what I hear, a lot of rumble, but it's not an extended rumble. It's very warm, it's very present, it's fun, it's engaging, but it doesn't trail off very naturally. It trails off very abruptly. So in terms of naturality of this rumble, it's not very, doesn't sound very natural, but it's very present. Okay, and then as for the mid bass is tucked, so it's a very fast mid bass. It's actually very controlled mid bass. It does bleed, doesn't bleed a lot, but it does bleed into the mids. But it's a very warm and heavy note type of mid bass. The impact and the punch is very prominent. Okay, so bass shelf, I would say very prominent, very forward. And then for the mids, right? Mids, I would say it's a mixed bag for me. For female vocals, it's a little bit lackluster, but for male vocals, they sound really good. And for instruments like the pianos, the cellos, and the double bass, they actually sound very good on this. But for violins and flutes and those higher octave instruments, they sound a little bit dark and a little bit laid back. Okay, but in terms of clarity, overall note weight is heavy, is warm, not very detailed as well because of the bass is veiled by the bass. So it's a very casual, fun type of listening experience for the instruments and vocals. Okay, in my opinion. So let's move on to the treble. Treble, as I mentioned, right, is not a very energetic treble. It's quite dark, it's recessed. And if you look at the gain here, the peanut gain, it does not give you that in-your-face type of presentation. So female vocals, they don't have that bite there, that energy and that presence, in my opinion. That includes some of the instruments that are somewhere around this octave, like for example, electric guitars. Yeah, sometimes I just want that bite, that sharpness of that electric guitar, that impact of that sound, but not on these. These are actually very safe, very smooth, and it does not give me that experience. Okay, and also the presence. So over here, it will show you that the vocals don't really sound very natural, and it sounds recessed, a bit dark, as I mentioned for female vocals. Male vocals are fine, you know, because they are actually somewhere in the lower octaves. Some male vocals, they sing really high, they come all the way up here as well, but yeah, they don't really sound natural. They sound a bit shy and recessed. So that's for the vocals. So I'm not really a fan of, you know, listening to vocals on this in general lah. Okay, and then for the mid bass, and then for the mid treble and the air is actually pretty well, I would say okay. It's not the best trail off cymbal strikes, hi-hats, and shakers and the claps. They sound okay, a bit unnatural, I would say, a bit hollowish type of treble, but it's okay, it's fine. It's not sibilant, it's not harsh, and it's not shouty at all. So yeah, pretty treble safe type of listening experience. I would say non-fatiguing listening experience. Okay, so that's for the overall sound signature of this Engine 4. To be honest, this is not my preference. Okay, I would prefer something okay, the bass is fine. It's not the best tuned bass as well. I would say the bass tuck here is a little bit unnatural, and this roll off here is also a little bit unnatural. But I would say if I were to compare it with the Mini Pro HS, which is this one right here, okay, they have the Mini Pro HS is the red line. It's got a similar type of bass shelf and also the mids. But then the treble is very different. The Mini Pro HS, they sound bright, they sound energetic, they sound engaging. Female vocal sounds really good on this, and very natural as well. And yeah, very present. So when I listen to the Mini Pro HS, I get more engagement and more emotional response when I listen to my tracks. So yeah, that's more to my preference lah. Okay, this is just my preference. It may be different for you. You might want something more laid back in terms of treble, something more not so in your face and not so aggressive, right? So if you want something more laid back, something easier to listen to, not so fatiguing, then you should go for the Engine 4. Okay, so that's well, just one comparison, but in general, this is the tuning of the Engine 4. So to conclude, I would say well, $60. $60 is good for gaming, it's good for making phone calls and watching movies. As for listening to music, this is not my preference, but if you like this type of laid back treble, then you can listen to mostly pop songs, hip hop, and any techno or trance, heavy metal type of genre of music, but not really suitable for classical listening, jazz, especially instrumental orchestras. Yeah, this don't really suit those kind of genre of music. It's more of a fun, casual type of listening. If you just want to listen to your music on the go, right, and these are actually very suitable for that. $60 is okay, it's fine. It could be cheaper, a bit cheaper, but because I think the sound separation is very good, yeah, maybe that's why they ask for that kind of price. But yeah, $60 is just nice for this type of listening experience, in my opinion. Right, so that is my overall conclusion and sound impression of this Soundpeats Engine 4. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and also learned something from this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So that's it for now. I hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.